What is going on, Cubs fam? We are back for another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. It is Thursday, December 3rd, and we have got to be on the watch now, fam, for the Challenge Tier Rancor raid. When is the raid coming? We're going to talk about that today. And you say, who's we? Oh, well, of course, it's me and Heinzie. What's going on, Heinzie?
Oh, man, magnificent. Back with the Cubs, fam. Love you guys. Hope you're all well. Always a pleasure to come on and join you, bunch of absolute superstars.
Absolutely. So, Heinzie, let's get right into this. I want to get into the meat of this discussion here. We got this post on the road ahead where Capital Games gave us some teasers about the Challenge Tier Rancor raid. We've heard nothing about it since. So, when are we going to see this? There are some clues in here and some clues in general that I want to break down and get your take on as well, Heinzie.
Sure.
So, at the end of the post here, they tell us a little bit about Challenge Tier Rancor raid, and then they say that we will have another post next month to give you specifics on the Challenge Tier Rancor so that players can prepare. This was in November, and so pretty soon, within this month, we are going to have a post on Challenge Tier Rancor raids. Now, here's the other tidbit that I think is really important to note. Capital Games has talked about before. Now, it's possible something changed. I don't think it has. But they talked about once upon a time about how fiscal quarters are very important to their announcing of what's going on for the game. And I think it was Carrie who talked about this and shared several reasons for this. The end of December is the end of this financial quarter. And so Capital Games has talked about the Rancor raid, the Challenge Tier Rancor raid within this quarter. It ends by the end of December here. And so if that tradition holds, we should in theory be seeing a Challenge Tier Rancor raid before January.
I think that would be fair to say. I believe so. I do buy it. Okay, we've got IG-11 done and locked and loaded. That's now off the table. It's out in the general population. Quill's out there as well. We know that we're about to get our boy Moff Gideon. That was also in that Road Ahead post.
He's hitting today as this video goes live.
There you go. And there's only one thing left, and that is the Challenge Tier Rancor raid. That was their road ahead. That's their benchmark. That's what they're working on. It certainly makes a lot of sense to release as soon as possible. We've been dying for another raid, a separate raid, a brand new raid for some time, Cubs. I think we're definitely, we sound like a broken record when we keep talking about this, but I think we're need something
broken
from
records. Come on.
We sound like a broken record. We're going around and round and round talking about new raid. That's what we do. I think it's only a matter of time before we do get that new raid. I really do believe that. I believe that this is a filler. I think it's something that's just to help, keep us occupied and ticking over. I personally love the Rancor raid. I'm going back to business. I'm going back to basics. For me, I haven't played it for years, so I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth back in it, hopefully with some new mechanics as well. So bring it as soon as possible. It'll give us something to get our head around and theory craft together.
Let me hone you in a little bit, Heinzie, because you're getting into like new raids beyond the Challenge Tier Rancor raid, and that's great and everything, but the people want to know, can I count on a Challenge Tier raid in the month of December? And I think that there's a couple things that point to yes, but I want to cast a little bit of doubt on that, Heinzie, because if you actually read this post, tell me if this looks like something that they're almost ready to release. They say here, we're still feeding the Rancor and don't know what he's going to look like at the end of his meal. But here's a few things we know, and then they give some pretty specific yet also kind of vague details. Challenge Tier Rancor will update the existing boss mechanics. The Rancor and guards will be getting a visual update. The Challenge Tier will be a separate event from the old Rancor. The goal is to make the new Challenge Tier unsoloable at launch. And last but not least, they'll reward Relic 8 materials. And so this is also coming with Relic 8, of course. And so putting aside the tidbit about financial quarters and all of that, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a stock guy. I don't know how bound they are to that kind of thing. I just remember CG saying that before. Does this to you, outside of those considerations, read like something that's ready within the next month?
It's still quite cryptic. Yes.
Okay, fair.
I think the marquees and the new character releases definitely, when it comes to physical performance, are probably more important to get those timings right more than obviously a raid where people aren't necessarily. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a business and that's fine. I've got no problem with that. Look, I mean, let's talk turkey here. A raid doesn't really bring in generate income. It really doesn't.
Listen, don't talk turkey right now. I'm still on a turkey hangover, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, late Thanksgiving to anyone still out there. We were thinking of you guys, don't you worry. I had turkey myself actually on Thanksgiving. Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, I think that definitely getting the marquees as priority makes sense. That's obviously a financial advantage for them to do that. Challenge tier Rancor raids, not as much. But a good challenge for us to help upgrade our characters. And the idea is that there's going to be certain characters that work better in this raid than others that people are going to want to farm to get those Relic 8 materials. And that, my friend, that is what people are really, really hunting for. And there'll be packs for that in time, of course, because that's just
I
how
hope
it rolls,
there's not
right?
at first. I mean, something that I really loved and frankly respected about the update to mods is that they put those new modding materials in Galactic Challenges and they left them there. There's no packs. You can't wail on it. It's a cash grab that they could have done and they did not do.
Yeah.
And stuff like that is good for game balance, I think, and just player friendly in general. So I'm hoping we see the same thing with Relics. My gut tells me we won't, but I would really like them to do that with Relic 8. So here's kind of where my head's at, Heinze. My gut feel is that we're not going to see this month. I think everybody needs to temper their expectations for this, but the next post is going to tell us all that we need to know, I think, on timing. If they did confirm, the timing they did commit to is a post with more details is coming in December. And so here we are in December. If that comes and there's a crap ton of details, then I think that we can obviously be a little more optimistic that it is coming this month. Obviously, if they announce a time with that post, then we'll know. I'm assuming that they won't, and we'll just have details. And I think depending on how detail rich it is, I think that can give us a clue as to how ready they are. But I'm just not buying, Heinze, with this post that they're close to ready.
Yeah, I think, look, I think that I wouldn't actually be disappointed if it didn't drop by December. And I mean, that sounds silly. And the reason I'm going to say that is that we know that they've been working on a lot of content recently as far as new characters and new theory crafting and new teams, new stats and strategies. Gideon Kit, they got that right. They've spent a lot of time on that. So if they need a little bit more time to make sure this raid is not soloable, is competitive enough but achievable because the rewards are worth it at the end, if they need more time to get that right, I'm all for it. Just tell us. Just say, guys, we wanted to bring it out in December. We need a bit more time to get it right. We're probably going to release it in January. Do a post to make everyone aware, be transparent instead of just not saying anything at all. I think, to me, I'd be more than happy with that and satisfied if that's the case. But the good thing comes, everything in this game is subject to change, my friend. That's how it works.
There it is. He says it every time. Yeah, no, I think that's a good call out, I'm kind of feeling like they've announced enough at this point. I don't think that they need to commit to a timeline right now, but they told us when to expect the next thing. So which I like. I like that expectation of, hey, here's an announcement. We're doing this. You're going to hear more about it next month. And so in the next post, I'm hoping they can tell us what the next step is. And so I think so far they've communicated enough to us about this. I'm just waiting on pins and needles for what the next communication will be. I'm thinking, I'm going to speculate right now because we're going to have a big gaping gap in the middle of December, or towards the, I should say, third week of December, while everyone's doing Christmas. They're going to be out of the office, I'm sure. Not that we would celebrate Christmas in this game, but they sure will be out of the office during that holiday, I would expect. And I'm thinking next week, because that's, let's see here, Christmas is the third week of December. Yes, third week. I'm thinking it'll be next week or the week after. We'll get that next content drop, or that next post drop, giving us all the details on the Rancor raid. And then, the most liberally, I would say, is maybe after Christmas we could see the raid. I just feel like it's going to be January. I don't know.
Yeah, again, I've got no problem with that, guys. I mean, Christmas for majority of us is a very busy time with family anyway.
Yeah.
If they needed a bit more time, as I said, to get it right, it's better than rushing it, releasing it, then fixing all the bugs later. Get that stuff done now before it drops out as much as possible. There's certainly always going to be something that needs tweaking or adjusting. That's fine. We get that. But we don't want cheese teams that can roll in there on day 2, day 3, day 4, wiping this raid and getting relegate rewards.
And
Take the time,
one
get
of their
it right.
specified goals. They don't want it to be soloable. So remains to be seen exactly when this is going to come, but I do think we can count on a post pretty soon giving us more information. What are you guys excited about for the Challenge Tier Rancor raid? Fill up the comments below. Be sure to check out Heinzie and leave a like on the video on your way out. Thank you so much for joining me for the video, Heinzie.
Anytime, my friend. Always a pleasure.
See you later. Goodbye.
Mwah!